Opendoor Technologies stock Open has been making waves in the market over the last couple of days of trading. We've seen a great correction after that breakdown. Firstly, on Friday, correcting from those lower end $5 levels, continuing up to around that 642 base level spot, and then continuing today, closing right at 797. So just below that $8 psychological level. The stock price went up today as traders reacted to the CEO's comments and the company's plan to push back against the short sellers. So this is seen as good news, guys. The CEO's strong comments shows that the company's ready to boost more home sales and shows a confidence in Opendoor's future. We closed doing around 20% today on stock price, really continuing that very nice recovery that we saw in the last day of trading. So we're going to break it down here. Should we be expecting to find that ceiling of $10 once more, retesting that 1057, which we would really be cleared if we go on the weekly time frame to test past that IPO range, where that 1057 was at very bottom of the IPO range, right? So be retesting as we broke down from this tight flag structure, retesting that, breaking through that once more, and then going ahead and trying to recorrect from this sharp decline. So our good news has definitely aided stock here. We have seen volume dry up as time goes on, but still nevertheless very volatile candles. And if we take a look on the hourly, guys, super fast continuation. We really went all the way down to 524, peaking back above, doing roughly around 50%, only in 2 trading days. So that definitely says something for the stock. And if we look at IWM, since Open is a low cap stock, the low cap sector is still facing a bit of downwards pressure. We saw today, nice open, nice gap up, but right away we see the sellers kind of step in here, almost get all the way down to that gap up level. But then the buyers do correct 3 hours in a row. This is on the hourly chart. But then as we close down at 244, we do see the last 2 candles favored by the sellers. So not a ton of real control here. IWM is still in a indecisive spot. I want to keep that in mind. We do have a very obvious resistance stemming right around that 245.40 roughly, and we are standing below that. Mark that out, that level there. Really want to see a reclaim of that spot before really being bullish in the short term. But that being said, as we continue to face a bit of downwards pressure with IWM, the low cap sector, we still see a ton of bullish movement from Open. Do that good news, and now we're seeing very nice technicals squeezing right at that $8 level. QQQ and SPY, the overall market sectors, very nice days, very nice correction from a lot of people thought this could have been a pullback. So we did get that smaller pullback. Huge buying pressure, green hammer candle, signaling buyers stepping in, and then that gap up and continuation. So overall market very healthy today. SPYs, QQQ. And despite IWM having a nice rebound, did have a little bit of selling pressure, but besides that, guys, Open still stayed in the game as one of the most strong stocks of the day. And if we can reclaim that $8 level and buyers could hold this spot instead of getting pushed back down aggressively, even though we had a very strong move up, if we can really lay a base here, guys, over this $8 level, I feel very confident that would go ahead and retest that 880. That was the past resistance here. We kind of topped around the zone, stemming back all the way there. And once we tried to get over that, we could not hold that spot. So 880 is an important level. And then that $8 level actually turned into a pretty tough spot to hold. You see, we got under that, tried to maintain pressure, met back up with this resistance point, and we broke back down. Tried squeezing out of this pennant, but the sellers did win with all the added pressure in the market last week. Broke down from that. Wasn't looking good for the stock. But then we do see a nice sharp correction as we fall pretty aggressively out of that pennant squeeze setup. It would be very ideal to hold this spot as some strong support. Laying that base, kind of like we saw back here, even if we had a chop day, lay that base a little bit and then continue that volatile move outside of the zone. This is far from normal price action here. Seeing a strong green bar like that and then really not holding up whatsoever at that 642, that being that past support, possible resistance marker, we just chop sideways and we continue our movement. Definitely really nice to see here, guys. And despite a very quick movement back up, we continue that today. So there's definitely some potential to go ahead and continue that in the next day of trading. As we were looking on the weekly time frame, we were very volatile on these past weeks. We see that stock went from nothing to something. We were 50 cents here, guys, fizzling out, completely fizzling out. Volume is completely dry, really little to no volume. And then we see a huge surge in volume. Price makes a strong move to 504 and we get shot back down again. But then you see here this massive bull run leading us all the way to $10 after that spike from 50 cents. But since then, we do see volume dry out. So drying out is not a bad sign. You would want to see it pick up a little bit more, right? As we have had these 2 volatile days, you would like to see price start to pick up in volume, aiding this continued movement out. Because Open has a ton of long-term potential. We've talked about the stock for a while on the channel. It's also a very undervalued stock. If we can see right here, guys, we're kind of in this entire cup formation. We went all the way to 50 cents, guys, really going to nothing. And you can see we meet right back up around that IPO range. So this is where we IPO. That has turned into a bit of resistance. You can see we kind of make a handle effect. So very long-term cup and handle, you could argue, in which we're going back up, trying to break through that $8 level, hold nicely, and then retest. And then from there, looking for that break out of that formation. So that's what I'm seeing here in the long-term aspect of things. I mean, past that range, guys, we do not have much holding us up. We could definitely be going for a bit on stock price, as we were majorly undervalued before finding that buyer interest. And time again, guys, when we look at these low-cap stocks, we see lots of times when the sellers try to make their move to the downside and we see a strong correction and buyers step in, they tend to find a volatile move to the upside and sometimes a breakout level move. We've seen that drastic shift as we were chopping between very much a battle between buyers and sellers within this flag structure. We don't have a clear winner. We double top here, showing that there is some strength at this resistance, and then we kind of descend in a slower manner. We're playing around at the bottom, but then boom, we get that nice move up, and we just can't get out of this resistance. It's holding up very strongly, which is definitely a little bit of a concern for the buyers, and we ended up breaking out of that pattern. That resistance was just too strong of a point, but since that bounce, guys, we noticed that we have actually broken through that resistance pretty much with ease, completely breaking through that and retesting that $8 level. So that's what we got to be looking at, guys, that reclaim of $8, holding strongly over that, and then ultimately continuing that move sooner than later. As we saw, we got held up right here. We were battling a resistance, but we got held up on that $8 level, not doing all that much, just flatlining, and then that ended up leaving us to the downside. So on a low cap stock like Open, where there's a ton of volatile potential, right? If volume could get back into play here, if we can break through a core level like $8, there's no doubt in my mind that we'd be retesting that 880 and possibly even that 1057 IPO range, looking for that break over that long-term structure that we're examining on the weekly time frame. We look at IWM because it influences a lot of low cap stocks. You see IWM and NEO, for example, really finding some downside pressure today as we had a tougher week of trading, really chopping sideways, getting a gap down. And we couldn't really do too much about today. Pretty bearish signs here on NEO in the short term, at least when I say that. And a lot of low cap stocks facing a ton of pressure, but Open stands extremely strong. Now, that being said, you would want to see IWM start to look a bit more bullish over the next few trading days. But all in all, technical wise and fundamental wise at the moment, we look very strong on Open with price targets of 1057, reclaiming and breaking over that IPO range, where you'd be looking for that continued breakout level movement out. Because despite getting in a flag and pole like structure, right, pole here, very volatile move to the upside and drawn on flag, we're still in this breakout level move, guys. Keep that in mind. We're still in a volatile breakout level move. This is a very much still a extremely volatile stock where we're now seeing that buyer pressure get bought back in. So I think that if we can get over that $8 level and continue this move, getting over a core level like that, laying a base, we should be looking good in the short term. Strong green wide bars showing that the buyers were in control for that entire day. Sellers just not in the equation. Right, you see these hourly candles, insane price action, zero pullbacks, chopping sideways here, continuing the movement, and now pressing up against a core level. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. For any short-term investors, we're looking really good here. Even if sellers stepped in for a day, right, even if we saw a small pullback, I believe that we hold higher than expected, and then we continue that breakout level. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned and up to date. Also, let me know in the comments below, what stocks do you guys want to see on the channel? I'm happy to cover anything that you guys really want to see. We're definitely going to be expanding as far as how many stocks we cover on the channel. Let me know in the comments, guys. Appreciate you all watching to the end of the video. And as always, guys, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.